Today, we have an exclusive conversation with the one and only Tulisa, a powerhouse singer, N-Dubz icon, and former judge on X-Factor. Fresh out of the jungle after her unforgettable appearance on I'm a Celebrity, she's sitting down for her first in-depth chat since leaving the camp. Her story is as raw and real as it gets. Between her turbulent childhood and achieving massive success, Tulisa has faced relentless criticism, endured the fallout from a sex tape scandal, survived a harrowing drug sting, and battled mental health struggles. Her journey is a testament to resilience, finding her voice and turning adversity into empowerment. Let me tell you, this conversation was so huge, we've had to split it into two parts. Get ready. This is Tulisa like you've never seen her before. In this episode, we speak about the turbulence Tulisa experienced in her younger years.
There's some interesting people watching to do in Camden, like every walk of life, every type of character, every bit of joy, every bit of issue you find it in Camden.
We look back at the early years of N-Dubz.
We went from the Lickle Rinsers to NW1, which was our postcode. Dappy was like, we need to switch this to like N-Dubz for short. So it's NW, and that's how N-Dubz came about.
And we dive into Tulisa's views on the importance of authenticity.
I love podcasts. It's bringing realness to the world. It's bringing authenticity. This making some kind of difference because I get to speak truth. I get to promote authenticity. This makes it worth it.
Yes. Please be aware that this episode discusses sensitive topics, including sexual assault and self-harm. If you're affected by anything discussed, we've included links in the show notes to organizations that can provide support. We need to start in Camden.
In Camden town.
I've been to Camden. I've had plenty to drink in Camden.
Have you?
Oh my God. So there's the waterway.
Yeah.
Through there, which is one of the, I think, the coolest areas of all of London.
Yeah.
Is that water.
And I do love it. It is cool.
But what I love to do most in Camden is actually people watch.
Oh, really?
I love it.
And there's some interesting people watching to do in Camden, like every walk of life, every type of character, every bit of joy, every bit of issue you find it in Camden.
You find it. You find what I feel like is it's one of those areas of London where you see authenticity.
Yeah.
And you don't see fabrication and fake.
Agreed. I never thought about it like that. It's a very, very real place. Mm-hmm. It's very diverse, but extremely real.
Yes.
Everyone's very much owning their energy in Camden.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is where you were born?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you think about how did Camden shape who you've become today?
God, I think it's every part of me, really. Well, I guess the diversity allows you to be able to mingle with all different types of people because you grow up with all different types of people from all different walks of life, all different kinds of experiences. I think back to the friends that I grew up with. Unfortunately, a lot of them lived very chaotic lives. They had a lot of troubles, troubles with parents and at home. So I saw a lot more of the chaotic side of Camden, the chaos and the drugs and the fighting and the drama. But there were also a lot of good moments, it is an incredible place, as you know, a lot of fun to be had.
Yes.
I was running around drinking in Camden from the age of 13 with a white stripe in my hand. Done my fair share of drinking in Camden. But yeah, I mean, it's also toughened me a lot. It's given me the ability to, I guess you could go from 0 to 100 if need be, which isn't a strength we should need, but at times we do. What else? Musically, the music in Camden growing up. I think back to the old school garage culture and the Miss Dynamite, yes. Who was like also from Camden, around like the So Solid era, and music was everything to us. We just lived and breathed it 24/7. As I was saying before we started, I used to have my tape cassette that I would record these things on pirate radio. So yeah, it shaped me into who I am.
Yeah, I can see it. Like I feel like there have been some incredible world-class creatives
Yeah.
who've come out of Camden.
I mean, Amy Winehouse. Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
Done.
We're done.
Next question.
That's it for Camden. Next.
Yeah. So when you think about, so your parents,
Yeah.
did they move to Camden because of all of what you just mentioned, or were there other reasons?
No, so here's the strange thing about my story. So I was actually more, we say Camden because as a group, we're all collectively in the Camden borough and the Camden area. I was a little bit more up the road. So I was in between a kind of a place called Hampstead, Kentish Town West and Queen's Crescent, that kind of area. Okay. But it's all Camden to us. People growing up there, it's like, yeah, we're from Camden. Dappy was like central, bang in the middle of an estate on Camden. Gotcha. So my parents were living with my grandparents, my dad's parents at the time, and we all were. So me, Dappy and his parents and my parents living under one roof, I think to the age of like 3 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then a council flat became available in that area, and so that's where they went. So it wasn't a conscious decision, I don't think.
It was just wherever there was availability.
It was a nice council flat as far as council flats go. It could have been on a really dodgy estate, but it was like a conversion house. It was a 1-bedroom, which obviously wasn't great. I had to sleep in the same bedroom as my parents to the age of 9, but it was on a decent road. It was on a nice road and a nicer area than we could have been in. So it was,
So you slept in your parents' bedroom until the age of 9?
Until the age of 9 years old.
How does that work?
I mean, there's one bed over here and that's mine, and then they sleep on the other side of the room in a double bed. And yeah, it was like that to the age of 9 until my parents got divorced. And then my mum moved out into the living room so I could have a room, and we both had our own bedrooms. It was a part of the court order that the judge said she has to have her own room, her own bedroom. So it had to happen basically for everything to pan out the way that it had.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you were with your mother early on in life. Clearly the relationship with your mother has impacted and shaped who you are
100%.
to this day.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, the gut says, okay, it wasn't a traditional relationship, but what relationship is traditional? We all have unique relationships with our parents.
Yeah.
So how would you describe the relationship with your mother, especially early on?
Early on, confusing, because the thing is about my mum's mental illness is there would be periods where she would be completely normal. And during those periods, she was an amazing mum. Very sweet, very kind, very gentle, very funny individual. Goofy too. I really get my mum's goofy traits from her when I'm in silly mode. And then she would have an episode, and then you would see the switch happen overnight, and she would completely become someone else. And in the early stages, I think I was so besotted with my mother, as most people are. It would just feel like devastation. I just loved her so much, and it was really soul destroying that one minute she was herself and then the next minute she wasn't. So I was just very confused. And then as I got older, I just began to very much detach. And then it just became this burden that I was forced to live with. So there wasn't much of a relationship. I just wanted to get out. I wanted to get old enough to leave, which I did as soon as I was. So there wasn't really a relationship. Once that switch happened, after her being hospitalised so many times and her becoming another person, I think as a protection mechanism, I had to shut down almost my love for her because it was too much to bear the switching. It's like one minute you've got best mum in the world and you'll have everything. The next minute, she thinks you're a demon. So trying to comprehend that, my mind just went almost like this isn't real.
Right. So she was diagnosed, it's schizoaffective.
Yeah, so she was misdiagnosed up until the age of, I was 17. She was diagnosed as bipolar. And then when I was 17, they were like, oh, we've made a mistake. She's schizoaffective. She has schizophrenia and bipolar combined. At which point they changed her medication. And then she stopped having the episodes. The last episode she had was when I was 17. She stopped having the episodes and then just became this kind of not there. They basically just numbed the hell out of her in every way or form. So then you don't see manic schizoaffective mum, but you also don't see normal mum either. So she's just
some reduced version of herself.
Yeah, just completely.
So you were, 11 when you became primary carer for your mother. Is that true?
Well, it's once my dad left when I was 9, it was just me and her in the house. So, I mean, I say I'm called a carer, but I only did what I was capable of doing. It's not like I woke up one day and someone gave me a certificate and said, you're now caring for your mum. There was just a natural way in the home. And I think about it and I think, a carer? Was I really a carer? I mean, if my mum had an issue, then I would step in when her mind is starting to crumble. But generally, I felt more rebellious, if anything. I was constantly running away from home, wanting to be out all night, running the streets, doing everything to get away. I was a very rebellious child and I felt extremely suffocated. So there were moments when I had to step up that I would do that, but I spent most of my childhood just trying to run away.
Trying to run away. What do you think you were running away from? So in that example where you say, if there was a moment where I had to step up or step in and really become that carer, what's an example of a moment?
So, I can recall coming home from school one day and I can't get in and I don't know how. I was outside for hours and I don't know how eventually I managed to get in. I think I had to walk to an aunt's house. I had to find a key and I get in and my mum's just sat on the floor and she's been sat there for God knows how many hours. She's not coherent. She's not speaking. She's just rocking, sat in, and has gone to the toilet there and then on the floor, and she's in it herself. So in that moment, I would, of course, have to try and get her up off the floor, try and get her into the bath, try and get her some fresh clothes, get her to dress, call the hospital, say she's having an episode, I need someone to come and get her, to which they'd say, oh, we're full, we don't have any beds. And I'd say, well, what am I supposed to do? And wait until, someone takes it seriously.
That's extraordinary responsibility for a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it felt that way at the time, though. That was just my life. I didn't know anything else.
What about others? Other family members? Your father?
There was a lot of conflict. It wasn't a good breakup between my mum and dad. So it was very much, my dad was like, oh, you can come with me. And so when I stayed with mum, there was this kind of divide between them. My time with my dad was my time with my dad. My time with my mum was my time with my mum. I had aunts that did help a lot through my younger years, but at times where I was really too young. So I had an aunt that when my mum would get sectioned, I would go and live with her for long periods of time. But there was a period I think I felt quite alone. Maybe it was when I was around 14. There was this distance among the family and I didn't really feel like anyone was there. And that for me was the hardest time. But that's very much changed now. My aunt cares. She does everything for my mum in terms of I'm not there in that sense at all. Okay. So that dynamic has very much changed.
So sectioned, just so that I fully understand, is when you were sectioned, specifically, what does that mean?
So my mum getting sectioned, it's like she is out of control and they have to, beyond her wants, take her in hospital and keep her there against her wishes, though she can't leave. She's legally sectioned to the hospital because she's a danger to herself, she's a danger to others, and of course a danger to me.
And these are some of these calls you had to make?
Yeah. to be like, help.
I would imagine this has happened from 9 all the way. But at 9 must be the earliest incidence of this.
Oh, no, it started from when I was born. My earliest recollection is when I'm like 4 years old, my mum being dragged away and sectioned.
At 4, you recall that?
Yeah, I can recall.
What impact?
I don't know. I was too young to take it in. I remember my parents screaming the house down. I remember rocking in between a bin and a cooker. I remember police turning up, and I remember my mum being dragged away and screaming her head off, screaming my name. And then I remember a police officer sat with me, just not really knowing what to say. And that was it. I didn't really get the opportunity to feel until I got older.
Okay.
How do you process as a 4-year-old?
When I oftentimes think about processing something, I think, okay, what would I then tell myself at that point? So what would you tell Tulisa at 4, seeing your mother being taken away by the police?
I feel like it is what it is. I feel like this answer would disappoint people. I'm a very tough love person. I'm really kind and like sweet with my friends, and I can be really gentle. Everyone comes to me, I'm the counsellor. But when it comes to myself, I am like really, really tough love. So I would probably quite literally say, listen, this is crap. It's going to get worse. I just need you to hang on in there. Like, that's it. You just need to be an absolute soldier. I need you to be a weapon. Remember, you are the biggest beast in every room. There are no demons out there bigger than you.
Yes.
And that's why I would say to myself, get it together. You're going to survive.
Yeah. Can I ask this why do you think that will disappoint many people?
I don't know. They'd say that's a bit harsh to say to a 4-year-old. It's not everyone necessarily thinks like me in the way that I speak to myself. And I still do.
Yeah, you still do. Yeah. I think there's going to be a common theme across your life as to that story. Can I show you something?
Yeah,
I got a little surprise for you.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Just sit here. Ready?
Oh my God.
All right, you have to close your eyes.
I'm nervous. So he's hyping up. It's like, you ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? I'm like, oh my God.
All right.
It's like a bush tucker child. Jesus. Waiting for the huntsman to drop down.
It's coming.
I wasn't ready. All right, cool.
Okay.
Close my eyes.
Close your eyes. All right. And now, no, don't open it. Don't open it. Now, when you open it, what I want you to tell me is what is the first thought that comes to mind when you see this?
Oh, God.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
All right, take a look.
Nah. I think in the summertime when the weather is high, you can just ride up and touch the sky. It's the first thought.
It's the first thought?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
The other thought is that that's not actually my dad. So where people have got it twisted is that my dad was in the band later. So Mungo Jerry, when they were at their peak, they did their thing. They were Mungo Jerry as a band. And then Mungo hired my dad and my uncle later, much later down the line, to tour with him. So he wasn't actually a part of the original band like that. Because since I've come out of the jungle, I've seen this everywhere. Like, Tulisa was a Nepo baby, and I was like, no.
It didn't happen that way.
No, it didn't happen that way. Yeah.
So your father was a musician.
Yeah.
Okay. Keyboardist, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Same with your uncle, although your uncle was a bass player.
Bass guitar, yeah.
Bass guitar,
Yeah.
all right. And so they became members of Mungo Jerry.
Yes.
But before that, it sounds like they were trying to
Yes.
do their own thing.
Yes. So my grandfather in the country was a diplomat for the United Nations. Very wealthy man, very wealthy family. And my dad and my uncle were the rebels. And my grandfather had said to them, look, you can do everything I do. You can have all of this, but you need to go through school. You need to learn this. You need to do that. You need your degree. And you live the same life. And they said, no, we're not doing it. We want to be musicians. And my grandfather was, I think he's a very wise man. I would have taken the same approach. He gave them a small amount of money, which was enough for them to buy, had this little room in Dollis Hill and set up studio equipment. And then he said, right, on your way. Do you?
And that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm cutting you off now.
No, not cutting off emotionally.
But financially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's always been conflicting stories where, our grandfather was a diplomat. well, yeah, I would have a great summer when I go to Greece, but I would still, go back to a one-bed council flat. So that's where I think the confusion is about the story. But it was very fascinating for me to see those two walks of life and understand. Gave me a lot of knowledge and understanding of people, different people. I also had my grandparents come to me and say, you can live this life. You do the same thing. You can come out here, you can live with us. We'll put you through boarding schools. To which I responded, I'm not going to leave my mother.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
So you had an opportunity to live the life.
Yeah. I probably would have been a doctor by now.
Isn't that interesting?
I know.
So you definitely are your father's daughter.
100%. It's horrific. I remember my dad getting called into schools back in the day, and they were saying, right, your daughter's done this, and she bunked off, and then we caught her, smoking in the back toilet, and his response was literally, she's her father's daughter.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So financially, your father was struggling.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was a grafter, don't get it twisted. And I always had some fresh trainers on my feet. He made sure of that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But he is, especially, let's face it, musicians.
Yeah.
Especially.
It's not what people think. It is not at all, especially in them times and playing in a band behind the scenes, as in you're not the front singer or you haven't done the writing. It doesn't work like that.
It's hard. So financially, this makes sense.
Yeah.
That it was incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to set that stage because without the finances, right, the support that the parents don't have the tools that they need for their children.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is children have to fend for themselves. And that's what it sounds like you had to do.
Yeah. Well, financially, my dad always supported me and had my pocket money and, what I needed to go to school and eat and do whatever I needed to do. But we basically weren't, rich. There were times when they were both on benefits, and there were times when, my dad had been kicking a lot and then he'd have a little bit more extra cash to go around. But generally, I think when I hit 15, I was like, I need money. And that's when I went out and got a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as the emotional support, you feel as if your father was there for you?
Listen, me and my dad's relationship has not been a conventional one. As we always say, what is? I would say me and my dad, now we're just more friends that kind of have an understanding of one another.
Do you feel as if he supported your mother enough?
I feel like there's certain things that I can't go into because of family, wanting to protect family.
Okay. Which is fair.
Yeah. I don't want to sit and say things and my grandmother, be upset about anything that I'm saying.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's interesting. With every guest that comes, I always spend moments talking about their parents or their first caregivers and the love that they had or lack of love that they had, because that forms our attachment.
Right.
And I know that you've done some work on this, or at least that you've done the reading and you're familiar with this. But our attachment really does form from that. So when you look back now, just as a assessing your attachment, what attachment do you believe you landed on as a result of your upbringing?
None. That was the problem. I became very, very detached, and I remained very, very detached from most of my life. I never zoned in on particular bonds. I was someone that was very loving, full of love, very sweet, very sensitive on the inside. Even though I had this really tough exterior, I'm a sop internally. But when it came to individual bonds and really creating love. I don't feel like I ever knew what love was, and I don't think I ever felt love until probably recent years, and I found that in friends. I learned love much, much later in my life. Very detached individual. And the same friends that I have now, the people that I've built the love I have with, they would sit here and say this like it took 10 years to get her or any kind of vulnerability from me. I am so blessed to have those individuals in my life to teach me love. I learnt love and they taught me it.
But you've learned it now.
Now.
But early on,
No.
you know, when you talk about not having an attachment, that's normally framed as an avoidant.
I am an avoidant.
Have you heard about these
Yeah.
different styles?
I'm an avoidant.
Everything that I read and see about you, I'm like, Tulisa's avoidant.
Yeah.
She's prototype avoidant.
I'm a prototype.
Like prototype. Like you are the perfect
I know.
avoidant. To the point where you could see how this is the reason why you are so self-reliant. Why you are so much of a rebel.
Yeah.
Because when someone is avoidant, they realize early on in life that the only person
They can rely on
they can rely on is who?
me.
And then this manifests itself.
Yeah.
But I'm curious though, sometimes when we start off as avoidant or anxious or secure, we then fall in love romantically early on.
Interesting. I know where you're getting at. Yes.
I mean, take me there.
Yeah, I did. I was, I guess, in a sense, I don't believe it was real love. I would get caught in the fantasy with the right individual of like, well, this is love. This will take me away from the lack of love that I'm feeling. So I definitely had some intense relationships from a very young age.
Okay. All right. Was this the beginning of you becoming sexually active?
Yeah, this was like just after I'd lost my virginity.
Can we talk about losing your virginity?
Okay. Whoa.
We like to go there, yeah.
Okay.
Because that informs, a lot of us don't talk, I think, enough about losing our virginity.
Okay.
And typically the satisfaction or lack of satisfaction that we have in that first experience informs our subsequent experiences.
Complete lack of nothing. Nothing going down in Chinatown.
Nothing, not at all.
Yeah, it was just, I think from that moment, I decided this was just a form of showing affection. I never got the physical pleasure aspect until way later in life. I was one of the last people that I knew to lose my virginity.
Did that, being one of the last, did that add any pressure?
Sometimes I think I remember getting into fights with girls, and there would be a thing where guys like to take girls' virginities. So if a lot of the girls had already lost their virginity, certain guys would pay me more attention because I was like one of the last virgins. So it was like a competition thing, and the girls, I actually got attacked off the back of it once because someone that had taken someone's virginity already or that was sleeping with was then going out and taking me on dates, trying to court me to take my virginity. So yeah, I guess in a sense it caused, I wouldn't say pressure, it caused drama.
As a result?
Yeah.
See, you know, you look at the games that we play and you ask yourself why.
Yeah.
You know, what would you tell 14-year-old Tulisa?
The same thing every goddamn time. Keep your shit together. Survive. You're going to get through this. Don't fear anything. There's nothing for you to be scared of.
There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I always say you're the biggest demon in the room. You know, when you get scared of demons, I'm afraid of the dark. I sleep with the light on to this day.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think this stems from sleeping in the same room as my parents. They would always leave the light on until they came to bed. So if I'm alone, I can't sleep with the light off. But as a spiritual person, sometimes when I'm in the dark, I feel like I can feel things. And I always say to myself, there is no freaking demon in this room bigger than you.
Yes.
Not that I walk around as a demon, but it's the inner beast that is there to tap into if you need it. And that's always my motto.
Yes.
What I tell people.
When did you think spirituality first enter your life?
Oh, right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. We're talking like, I want to say 6, 7 years old.
Okay, early.
Both my parents' families and my mum were very religious. So I didn't quite understand my spirituality yet. But I used to have an icon of Mother Mary above my bed.
Okay.
And one night I could hear my parents going at it as they would, and I can hear like screaming and getting really loud. And then I was on my bed. And I remember like rocking, and I start praying. I'm like, please, Mother Mary, please, Mother Mary, please make it stop, please make it stop. And then after doing this for not very long, it went from like what sound is like his hell to silence. But it was scary, where I thought something was wrong. So I freaked out and crawled, I remember, like through the hallway on the floor to peek through the gap in the door, because I thought one of them was maybe not here anymore because of this quickness of the quiet. And then I saw my parents arm in arm like that, smiling, madly in love. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And then that was the first time that I was like, there's something more here. Something is protecting me or guiding me from a very young age. And it's one of the things that enabled me to survive, probably most of what I've survived, because actually, even though I've been very alone, I've never felt alone.
Look at that. That's profound.
I know.
That's profound. At 6, you became attached really to spirituality. And that was your comfort.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
And as well, after something like that happening, I was like, you've got me. So I always felt like something had me.
Yes.
It wasn't in the conventional sense, but there was something else that had me.
That was protecting you.
Yeah, that would make sure I was going to be okay. No, but you still waver when you have so many experiences. So it wasn't solidified, but I can remember specific moments where it literally got me through. And I believed, I had this real guardian level of spiritual protection behind me.
Yes.
And then I'd have some bad moments, and then I'd lose faith, even though I'd been shown like literally miracle level things throughout my life.
This is helpful for us to be aware of.
Yeah.
Because for so many of us, spirituality enters much later in life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 70, 80.
Yeah,
You're like,
I
hold
know,
on
I
a
know,
second,
I know.
a second. So then how do you reconcile some of these challenges early on? I know that there was a sexual assault that happened early.
Weirdly, that experience for me, I've taken the knowledge from it, but I very much detached from that experience. I'd say there's other things people don't know that I'm slightly more still hold feelings towards. Not everything's in that book, but I guess that's the only thing I really touched on. But for me, it's actually quite low on the list, to be honest.
Oh, that. But I mean, just to mention this, because you did write about this in the book Honest. What happened?
I was out with a group of boys from my area who I'd known for years, was friends with. And I remember seeing one of them, they had something in their drink and it was fizzing. And I instantly thought, oh God, like they're taking drugs. What are you putting in there? And I looked at him and I was like, please, 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 don't put anything in my drink. I was like, I'm super sensitive, because at the time I'd started having like fits off the back of just weed. So I was like, I can't take any drugs. Like, please, please don't put any drugs in my drink. Like, and he was like, no, I'd never do that. I'd never do that. And then as the night went on, I remembered just feeling like, what is going on? And then next thing you know, I just remember flashes of being in a car and just seeing the lights, the street lights. So I must have been lying back. And I just remember opening my eyes for a second and seeing street lights, street lights, street lights. And then obviously waking up in a room, and then, the rest is history.
the following day, in the book, you wrote that his mother is making you tea.
Yeah.
She's unaware. I'm assuming she's unaware.
She is unaware.
She is unaware.
Yeah.
That her son has sexually assaulted you.
Yeah.
You didn't report this.
No.
You didn't mention that to her. You didn't report it. If you were to go back, would you have reported it, knowing what you know today?
I think I probably would have attacked him, so I wouldn't have been able to report it. That's the honest truth.
Okay.
Probably would have punched the crap out of him
All right.
and not wanted to report it because I would have got in trouble. That's what I would have done.
Okay.
That's the truth.
I did some research. Found that 1 out of 5 rapes within the UK, there is some drugging that happens. This is incredibly prevalent, to this day.
I'm not someone, when I feel hurt or backed in a corner, goes to self-blame. I blamed him through and through. Didn't look at one bit of my actions and think, what could I have done differently? That is all.
It's all
you.
him. Yep. Have you yet had a relationship that you feel like you were loved romantically?
I had one when I was 12 to 13.
Okay.
With a boy called Carlos.
Okay.
And he was like my first lover. This is before intimacy. And he was a beautiful, beautiful soul. And he was like a childhood sweetheart. And it was a very happy time with him. Didn't unfortunately end well.
I mean, 12, 13,
Yeah, of course. It is what it is. But so I'd had one.
Okay.
And then obviously I went straight on to the older guy who had his own place. So yeah, I'd had two sides of the spectrum.
2 sides of the spectrum. I see. All right. Can we stay with boys for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So 16, after 16, what's the next relationship that you have?
So me and my bandmate Phaser always had this on and off thing in between relationships. So I feel like in a way, Phaser is kind of present all the way from the age of 11 all the way up. So he's always there, and then I'm in a relationship with someone else, but then it's like back again. So he's also present. Then aside from that, it's Adam, who is an ex-boyfriend of mine, that probably one of my most serious relationships.
Okay.
Growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long and what happened in that relationship?
That started when I was 16. He was a UK rapper at the time, and I hadn't got any success. So he was like the cool, famous one. He was a little bit older than me. I had lied to him about my age.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. So he didn't know. I think he thought I was 18 or 17. I don't know. I told him a porky. And I was very besotted with him. And we kind of casual dated. I felt like he didn't really take me too seriously at first. I knew he liked me, but I didn't feel like he was taking me seriously. And then I was really coming into my becoming a woman stage of my life. So he was kind of with me through this transition where I went for this kind of a little bit nerdy, kind of half goofy, bit naive to a badass. And then during that transition, it's like I just woke up one day and just went, And then the transition happened of me kind of not taking me so seriously to the turnaround.
Yes. All right. I like it. And you said the constant though was Phaser, kind of in and out.
Yeah, and then that was in and out as like my safety blanket. That's my safe space with Phaser.
With Phaser.
Yeah.
What I find interesting, so there was something that you said or wrote here, and that was that, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, that you wish you had lost your virginity to Phaser.
Yeah.
Okay. Break that down for that. That's a strong statement.
Yeah. Because he was the person that loved me. He was the only person that deserved it. You know, because that is real. That's real to this day. We love each other like family. It doesn't matter if it's not romantic anymore. That's my family. That's my soul family.
Yeah.
And the person that I become doesn't want anyone in my life other than soul family, especially not when it comes to intimacy. And that's what I'm like now to this day. It has to be soul family energy. If it's not for me. So he's the only person, you know, looking back then, that he means something now.
To it, yeah. Why do you think it didn't remain romantic?
Incompatibility. We're incompatible. There's a lot of love there. I feel as if it was inevitable. You have two people that are so close. They're like family close. They're like friendship close. And then they have an attraction there, and they're constantly around each other. They can't get away from each other. It's inevitable. So we just had to go through it to grow through it. But after being in a relationship, we're very different human beings. Very, very different, you know, and that's really what it comes down to.
I see it.
Yeah.
That's fair. And I think having gone through like the trials and tribulations together.
Yeah.
Because I think you truly know someone, not in the good times.
No.
But you know them in the bad times.
Yeah.
Yeah. We Need to Talk is quite literally brought to you by Adobe Express, the quick and easy create anything app from Adobe. The team uses it to create materials for the show, from the cover art to the social posts. But I think you'll get a lot out of it too. What sets Adobe Express apart is how it puts content creation within reach for everyone. Whether you're making a personal vision board, drafting a business manifesto, or creating social content on the go. With templates for everything from Instagram Reels to presentations, you can easily make it your own without starting from scratch. It's intuitive and accessible, so you can bring your ideas to life effortlessly. And that's the beauty of it. Adobe Express makes sure that creativity isn't just for the professionals. It's for anyone with an idea. It levels the playing field, giving you the confidence to create something that truly stands out, no matter where you're starting from. Search Adobe Express to get started. Dating can often feel like a lot of pressure, especially when we're focused on finding the one. But what if we change the narrative with the help of today's show sponsor, Tinder? A great date might lead to you learning a new skill or discovering a hidden gem in your city. You might even meet a new lifelong friend. Sometimes it's just about enjoying the moment and sharing an experience with someone new. Tinder is a place for all types of relationships. Whether you're looking for love, friendship, or simply a great date, it's designed to help you explore every possibility. Dating isn't about success or failure. It's about the journey. So take the pressure off, open your mind, and embrace the adventure. Wherever it takes you, it starts with a swipe. Download Tinder today and see where your next connection might lead. So Phaser clearly is 1/3 of, I will say now, one of my new favorite groups.
Oh, have you been getting down to N-Dubz? Yeah, in the research.
Have I? For N-Dubz, let me tell you something. Like, this is going to sound like I am now a super fan.
I love this. Go on, hit me with it.
All right, I don't want to lead you, but I'm going to tell you my honest opinion. Mm-hmm. I think one of the most undervalued groups in the UK.
I'd agree with that.
And also, I think what you all have done in terms of blending soul and pop and hip hop.
Yeah.
Who else did that?
Not any
Tulisa, who else did that?
Not any that I've heard. But we can't sit here and blow our own trumpets. We let the music and the fan base speak for itself.
How many platinum albums?
Oh, God. 4.
How many gold albums?
I don't know. So how many albums did we have in total? There's only one that is gold that didn't go platinum. So, so two gold, 4 platinum. I don't even know. Recently, the greatest hits just went platinum as well. So I don't know if that adds
3.
on enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be 3. So we'll say 2 or 3 platinum.
Yeah.
Right. At least 4 gold.
Yeah.
All right. How many MOBO awards?
I don't know.
4.
Okay.
What's the name of the group? I don't know.
I just turn up to sing and write. That's it. Like, I probably live in a bubble. I'm one of those people. Like, I just call out from under my rock. I'm like, is it studio time? Okay, cool.
But you don't have all this on your wall? Like
I have it in like my
plaques?
gaming room.
Okay.
I have it. I know that we're 4 times platinum. I know that much.
Okay.
That's what I know.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So I said, I think N-Dubz completely undervalued. You said, all right, I'm going to let the fan base speak.
Yeah.
Why do you think I said that?
I think because you're someone that appreciates real music and something a lot of people didn't pay attention to when it came to being a critic or critiquing the music was the level of complex music that we make. It's very beyond our years, very mature for our years, and it's combining so many other sounds. And if you're a music man or a music woman, you're going to hear that and go, is that an orchestra string in the background? Is that an 80s guitar riff I'm hearing? Is that, it's just endless.
It's endless.
Yeah.
It's endless. Can we talk about your voice?
You can do.
How do you rate yourself? Because like when you walked into the studio, I had Mary J playing,
Yeah.
right? And I could tell everyone puts Mary J like
Yeah.
that. But how do you, in terms of critiquing your voice, where do you place yourself?
I place myself as a recording artist. I'm one of those people that it's about more than my voice. It's about my writing. It's about the little tricks and things that I throw in and the ha-has and the things that I say. I feel like I'm a great artist as a whole package. But I don't see myself as like a Mariah Carey of the world, far from it. I'm more of an edgy artist.
Okay.
And a recording artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think that's how the fans see you?
I don't know. I think I have 50-50 opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the real ones will say that you have got a voice on you.
Yeah.
I saw you do a Sam Smith cover. Mm-hmm. Saw the full.
Yeah, I know
full
the one
thing.
you mean. Yeah.
And comment after comment was like, that was a bold choice.
Yeah.
And she laid it down.
Yeah. Good to know.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's there. It's
Yeah.
there.
Oh, no, for sure.
Yeah. So the N-Dubz starts though as what's the first original name for N-Dubz?
The Little Rinsers. The Little Rinsers.
You got
Because
it.
we were little and we rinsed the mic. Little Rinsers.
I'm telling you, everything stems from Jamaica, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm Jamaican. There you go. Everything. So Liquor Rinsers
Yeah.
is it. So then how does the group become N-Dubz?
We went from the Little Rinsers to NW1, which was our postcode.
Gotcha.
And that just wasn't cool enough. So Dappy was like, we need to switch this to like N-Dubz for short. So it's NW. And that's how N-Dubz came about.
Interesting. Dappy seems to have had a profound, life-changing impact on you.
Yes, he has actually. Not many people notice that.
Yeah. Tell me about him.
Me and Daps. I feel like me and Dappy have soul ties, soul contracts. Like I feel like we have been in each other's lives. He could have been my son in the last one. Like reincarnation cycles. Like we are soul tied together, me and Daps. I also sometimes feel like we are kind of a split version of one in the same.
Interesting.
Like if Twin Flames wasn't romantic. So like we are the yin and the yang.
Okay.
Like I would be Earth and he would be Venus, the one that's on fire,
Yes.
covered in
Okay.
sulfuric acid. And
Really?
yeah. We are so similar in so many ways. People that know us find it trippy. At times where they're watching us like, oh my God, it's like the same person. And then we are so different in so many other ways. We're more like brother and sister. We trigger each other a lot.
I would imagine you two would go hard.
To watch. But at the same time, there's not many people in this life that could annoy me at times, can really upset me, that I will never kick out of my life, and I would also kill for.
Yeah.
It's a very bizarre love, because mostly with me, if I have such a up and down relationship with someone, I'm just like, out. You disturbing my peace? Out. He's just that one little human that will forever love with all my heart and kill for, and also kill him.
Yeah. So you have unconditional love.
Yes. That's what I have for Daps.
Yeah.
Unconditional.
Yeah. I can
My
see
little evil twin.
You keep saying little.
No, not because he's small. He's taller than me. No, not because he's small. I think it's a northern thing. We say little this.
Little.
Did you bring your little bag today? Are you having your little cup of tea? Yeah, it's not because he's little. It's just, I actually say little a lot. Do you know what? I get pulled up on that,
Really?
It's especially sometimes, like, see if I'm dating a guy, I'm like, oh, did you eat your little thing? And they're like, stop calling me little.
I was like,
But I'm not thinking of it like that.
I was like, that's offensive.
I know, I keep saying it, but it's not. I don't mean it like that.
You should now try to replace it with big.
Right, with your big. Oh no, it doesn't have the same ring to it.
Did you bring your
Little.
big bag?
Did you bring your big bag today? No, little is like more endearing. It's like, did you bring your little? Yeah, it's my little cousin. It's not.
That's your big cousin.
Yeah, he is my big cousin. He's older than me, but I'm the big cousin.
Oh my gosh.
I'm the big sister.
All right. So clearly, though, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see how there's unconditional love, respect, trust,
Yeah.
right? And with Phaser, too, I could see the three of you, truly the three of you are friends, colleagues forever.
Yeah, forever. That will never. The bond will never die.
Yes.
What we've experienced, I can't imagine. Honestly, any band in the world has had just the dynamic, the way it's happened, everything about it. I know everyone's experience is unique, but I just feel like it's just something that is really untouchable.
Yes.
No one could ever really know the bond that we have.
Without a doubt, the bond must have become stronger after the passing of Uncle B.
Yeah.
Because from what I understand, Uncle B truly was, he was managing, leading.
He was the driving force.
The driving force. So how, please tell us about that moment when you found out. And then how do you then remain together? Because that, I can imagine that could have split up a lot of groups.
Yeah. Oh no, complete opposite. I never had anyone close to me die before. He's a very intuitive individual, spiritual himself.
Okay.
He knew something was wrong with him. He kept saying to the group, I'm not right. I'm going to die soon.
He said this.
Yeah. One place I get my tough love from is my Uncle B. So he would just savagely say things. And this is like something he taught me. So he's walking around like, yeah, you're all laughing now. If we had like given him a hard time in the studio or someone's turning up late, he's like, it's all right, I'll be dead soon. And then you're going to really find out what it's like out there on your own. And he kept saying it. And we'd be like, B, stop saying that, man. Don't say that. So bad. Shut up. Stop being stupid. And then we did our first show where we actually saw that we had a fan base. It was the first show we ever did. It was in a place called Red Hill, and it was a sellout 2,000 capacity. And we hadn't started gigging since releasing the last few Channel U videos.
Okay.
So it was like our first show. We'd done our first show, sold out 2,000. And then there were just 2,000 kids screaming word for word all our lyrics at the top of their lungs. And we just looked at each other and was like, we've done it. And B's there at the back of the room like, they've done it. There we go. And he said afterwards, I was driving around in this green van. I was going to say little green van. It wasn't little.
See?
Little, I can't help it. We were driving around in this green van and he was like, that's it. I've done it. I'm ready to go now. B, stop saying that. No, I'm done. That's it. This is what I was here to do. I'm ready to go. And then he died because the next day or within the next 2 days. I have never experienced a feeling like it to this day. I passed out, like I just fainted. So something took over and then I remember waking up. And as soon as I woke up, the first person, it was like, oh my God, B said, and then my head went, Dappy. That was just all that went into my mind. And I was like, And I was looking around the room until my eyes found him. And then I just, oh my God. And I was just crying, screaming, crying, just looking at him. Because it was just the heartbreak for him. And knowing how much he was going to now suffer and the way his life had changed, it was just heartbreaking, gut-wrenching. And I was just looking at him and screaming. And like when my arms reached out to him, just screaming. And he was just shocked, just completely, you could say, lifeless almost, didn't know where to look. And then eventually he was like, just, can I come to yours? Like, I just want to get rid of everyone and come to yours. And that day he just came back to my house, a house that he hadn't been back to in like over 2 years. He hadn't seen my mum, he hadn't seen anyone. I always go to his house or I see him at the studio. And he just wanted to go back to my house in the room that, you know, we grew up in, having sleepovers. And we just sat in my bedroom in silence for like 2 hours and didn't move. We didn't speak. We just sat side by side in silence.
That's such a testament to how safe he felt with you.
Yeah.
You know? How did you all stay together after that?
Well, after that, it was like, we died for this shit. This is it now. We're going to take this to the next level. We did a gig the next day.
Did you?
Yeah. There was no messing about now. We cried on stage, but we did it. It was like, now it's do or die.
So you were moving forward as a testament to B's life.
First album, Uncle B.
Yeah. What do you think Uncle B would say after seeing what N-Dubz has done?
After that last tour, he's laughing his friggin' head off. He's out there, and that's what he's the kind of person. If like after that show, I told you, motherfuckers. That's his energy.
Really?
He would just sit and laugh, you know, like that amount of something fantastic happens. He's just like, he's just up there pissing his sides.
Yeah. I think when it comes to these, you know, I think the brilliant managers, right, is that they have to see something that not only the world doesn't see, but you as the artist that you don't see.
Yeah, he believed in us more than us.
Yes.
Like, incredible. Like,
he was right.
Yeah.
I'm looking here is I see that it's 2 platinum certified albums, 2 certified gold albums, 5 mobile awards. But perhaps with this last one that you should talk about,
no, I tell you what it is. So the one album, the first album that went platinum, went double platinum. So it's 2 sets of platinum. And then the next one went platinum. And then the greatest hits is also platinum. So that's why it's 4 times platinum.
There you go. There you go. All right. Done and done. Done and done. Done and done. I'm not arguing with that.
You're done here.
I'm not arguing with that. You're like, yeah, Paul, that's what's on my wall.
Yeah, I know. It's up there. I've got a whole disc looking at me every day.
I look at it every day. All right. So now let's look at this time, okay? Because you go from like obscurity to you're a part of this phenomenally well-selling group. All right. So that's really your stardom.
Yeah.
And fame comes with that. But even prior to getting to that, you've gone through all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, I would imagine, has an impact on your mental health. What was the impact that your childhood had on your mental health?
I began self-harming. I would cut myself a lot. Just on my arms, I would use scissors or a knife or a couple of times a razor blade. And I would cut myself. I would cry every night. Very depressed. Very, very depressed child. I wouldn't find joy in anything, many things. Just a sad, sad child.
Okay. This is something that, I mean, let's, so you would cut yourself. And what was the intention of cutting yourself?
I want to say I was feeling all this pain inside. And for me, this pain felt excruciating, but it was all trapped in my mind. And I couldn't release this pain, and it wasn't even real that I could touch it. It's all internal. And the cutting was a way of externalizing the internal pain.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
On that.
So something that felt real, and also a pain that took away from the pain.
From the pain. And then after you cut yourself, would you want anyone to see the cut?
No.
No.
I would wear long sleeves.
Okay. How many years did that continue for?
I want to say that was on and off. I'd have periods where it'd be worse than other times, from the age of maybe 12 or 13 up to 17.
Okay.
I also had compulsive skin picking disorder. So I would also, anything I could find in my skin, in my face mostly, body, I would take tweezers, I would take needles, and I would squeeze and squeeze and squeeze most of the time at nothing. But it was some kind of, it's a compulsive disorder, I guess. So I have that. I still suffer with it to this day, but I have it a lot more under control than what I used to.
Okay. So my God, I mean, going back to the 14, when did you start at N-Dubz? How old were you?
11.
11. Well, Little Rinses.
The Little Rinses.
Yeah, there you go. At 11. So 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
You know, you're on this graft with the group,
Yeah.
right? Still haven't found stardom.
Yeah.
You are dealing with being the carer for your mother.
Mm-hmm.
You are dealing with these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've gone through these very challenging relationships, and it seems like a lot of that is manifesting in your mental health state.
Mm.
But yet you still had faith.
I did. Did have faith.
Where do you think you'd be without the faith?
God, finished. I would have fully chopped myself years ago out of there. It was the faith. And the faith is the fire.
Yeah.
100%.
I can see it.
Yeah, literally.
I could see it.
Literally.
This is a part of your story that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
But now, because what I often, I mean, we haven't even gotten to, I think,
Yeah.
some of this.
We haven't even scratched.
We haven't even started. I mean, we haven't even started, Tulisa. I mean, but you think, I always wondered, what was it that got you through? You know, there's so many of us, we all have a North Star. And now I understand it was your faith.
It was my faith.
You know, so when you think about N-Dubz, okay, so N-Dubz, and I said, I feel like N-Dubz was undervalued.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about class?
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Do you believe that the prevalence of class and the perception of class in the UK had any impact on how people perceived N-Dubz?
And every impact, it was what dominated the press. And at the time, when it came to the fame side of our success, that's all there is the press. But, you know, it's just a strange time back then. It was different. It was very they'd have TV shows where, like, Kevin and Perry go large. It was like chab culture and kind of ripping the crap out and your Ali G's and things like this.
Yeah.
That it was a very different time. But I guess, yeah, and 100% in so many ways, the line was crossed in many ways. But at that time, there was no line, so...
There was no line?
No.
How was it crossed? What are some examples of
God,
what
I've
was
had
being
so
said and
many
done?
experiences now. Weirdly, I had to do this the other day, dealing with a phone hacking case, and I had to sit and look through press stories, and, you know, they'd ask me about N-Dubz stories, and I said, my mind is so dominated by the trial, that I can barely remember any other press. So it's like, if you ask me now off the top of my head about an N-Dubz story, I'm like, because there's been so many. So the ones that dominate my mind are like the trial, the tape, things like that, rather than
the actual N-Dubz.
And it's hard for me to even pinpoint, but I know that there were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So with N-Dubz, all right, so here's what the nerd in me did.
Okay.
I looked at album sales, right? And I looked at things like views, total views on like YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at it in comparison to other groups. And I'm not going to name names on other groups, but other groups that were out during that time.
Yeah.
And then what I did is I put it all into ChatGPT.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'm fascinated by you, nerd you. Oh, I'm so with you. This is such a me thing to do. I love
you
that.
should do this. You should do this on your free time.
Okay, I love this.
I put it into ChatGPT and I said, okay, now tell me what the sentiment was
Okay.
from press articles on these groups.
Right.
And you know literally what ChatGPT came back was like,
Fascinated.
N-Dubz completely undervalued. Here's the reason why.
Wow.
And it was specifically related to this perception around class.
Right. Not wrong.
And I think being the American without living in the UK, it was so hard for me to understand class. Because in all over the world we have class.
Yeah.
But in the US, I feel like it is predominantly based on wealth. So you make some money,
Yeah.
you're upper class.
Right. Got you.
No matter what, no
Right.
matter how you sound,
Yeah.
no matter how you dress,
Yeah.
no matter what you do,
Yeah.
you have some money in your pocket,
Right.
you're upper class.
Whereas here it's cultures. It's all culture. 100%.
And this, you could see how this how this impacts the perception.
Yeah.
So you're in agreement.
Yeah.
Of the undervalue.
100%. 100% musically, especially. Like we were talking about before, very musically undervalued. Just because you're hearing us rap, which as well, rap wasn't taken as seriously back then, but the music, the beats that we were singing and rapping over as well,
Yes.
the production.
Yes.
So you could break down an N-Dubz record, like you go to someone that does mastering, and people that do mastering and mixes have said this. They're like, man, you ain't never heard a record like an N-Dubz record. You break that down, the amount of layers and stuff that they've got going on in there is wild. You look at like 52 different vocal tracks,
Yeah.
Just they're people are bamboozled when they open it up. Like, you've got what going on in this song?
Yeah. Was that Phaser? Was he predominantly the producer?
He was the producer. He still is.
Genius.
Genius.
The man's genius.
Genius level of
Yeah.
talent.
Do you think he gets his dues? His respect?
No, 100% not. But I think it's just not evident enough. No one thinks as much about the beats, how important the song is that you're singing over. And some people like music, but they're not musical. Do you know what I mean? Everyone likes music. Doesn't make them necessarily a real music man or a music woman.
I hear you.
So not everyone really respects music in the same way as others.
Fair.
So that's why I think Phaser doesn't get as much credit as he is due, as the genius that he is.
So we're looking at all these N-Dubz headlines, right? And a lot of them from the press are negative, right? And a lot of them are talking about lifestyle, etc.
A lot of them also bullshit.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, facts.
So from N-Dubz, it feels like the next big career jump for you was X-Factor.
Yeah.
Okay, which was just, and I think for anyone looking at television today, I think you have to understand what X-Factor was as a project at that point. Because what year is this? Like
2012.
2012. So this is, the numbers must have been ridiculous in terms of the viewership.
I think it was like 16 million.
16 million. Like no one's getting numbers like that
No.
Today.
Yeah.
How? Because I always hear you talk about this. You manifested that.
Yeah. I manifest a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you manifested that. So you manifest that. Day one, you walk in. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Day one on X Factor.
Crap, now I've got to do this. Now I actually have to do it. I manifested it, but I just want the job. I'm not thinking about how I'm going to do the job. I never thought about what would I bring to the table outside of, I'm thinking face value, me as a judge, I know how to talk the talk, you know what I mean? I know how to jump in front of a camera and do the whole entertainment thing. I knew I would be good TV value, but then when I actually became a judge, then I'm like, there's way more to this, and now I'm responsible for people and individuals, and this is a bigger responsibility. How am I really going to do this? Not what you see on camera,
Right.
the stuff that goes down behind the scenes.
Right.
And now I was like, crap, now I've got to really do this. I think they also thought because I wanted the job, so I talked the talk to get the job. And I think they maybe thought I was going to be even more fierier than I was. And then they found that I was actually quite a softie in many ways when I got up there. So even they had to switch their narrative as they were filming as a judge, because they kind of had an expectation of one thing and then were like, oh, so then we're going to switch it this way.
But did you find yourself feeling like you had to almost present a character?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah. It's like it's like the Japanese say, we have the three faces. We have the one that we show the world. We have the one that we show our immediate circle. And then we have the one that we show ourselves. And though I have always been a very authentic individual, I always keep it real. But still, when you're 22 on a TV show like that, of course, there's a level of that third face, you know, and you're not going to be 100% yourself. But it's not that you're not being yourself. You're being a version of yourself in that situation.
Yes. Yes. And how do you think that version of you was received?
I think I felt like at first I had a lot of haters, but what I saw more was the love.
Okay.
At first. Not initially when I first got the job. I mean, as I was warmed in on the show. When I first got the job, it was just pure hatred. She doesn't deserve this. She shouldn't be there. You know, what is this? It's like an abomination, me becoming a judge. But then as time went on, I felt a lot of love from individuals. And I'd always, you know, my life was never easy. So being Marmite wasn't too much for me. It's like 50% of people love me, 50% of people hate me. It is what it is.
Exactly.
I'm still here.
Exactly.
I'm still getting paid. Like,
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And that's how it was at first.
All right. What about the whole the folks who didn't like you, right?
Yeah.
How much? Because none of those folks knew you.
Yeah.
So it seems like what they are not liking is what the perception of you.
Yes.
But they're not liking you. It's the perception of you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I would imagine at that age too, you can't disconnect those two. So you're feeling like you're not being liked.
Yeah. It was very hard as well, going from being in N-Dubz, where with these kind of, you know, characters that grew up in Camden and we're super edgy, super raw, a bit ghetto, do you know what I mean? We were ghetto, keeping it real in the things that we would talk about and the way we were and the way we speak. And then I have to switch to commercial television where it's like, hey, hi guys, you know the drill. Hey, how are you today? Love that. Amazing. So you have this other Tulisa that goes up. It's like, yeah, you're good, bro. Hi, guys. Today, you know, so there's the two sides. But this is where, speaking about my childhood, I'd witnessed the two walks of life, which enabled me to switch in a room full of bigwigs and turn on the charm. Also go back to Camden and fit right in.
Yeah. Can I say, this is what I hate about television right now.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's the contrived energy. It grates my soul.
It grates my soul as well.
Right. I'm glad we agree on that. It's like a cheese grater on my soul. This is the feel. It's like nails going down a chalkboard.
Yes. Yes.
It's too much.
I'm hoping for the day. By the way, this is what I love so much about podcasting.
Yeah. I was just having this conversation before I came here, saying that I love podcasts. It's bringing realness to the world. It's bringing authenticity. This in some kind of difference because I get to speak truth. I get to promote authenticity. This makes it worth it.
Yes. And you were not edited.
No.
To look a certain way,
no,
to say a certain thing.
I said that, and that's how it came out, and that's what was said.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And I can imagine...
Changing the game.
Years ago, like 10 years ago, it's even hard, like it's an even tighter edit around who you are. And there's more of a, okay, this is who we want Tulisa to be, you know? Now, you don't have to answer this one.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to answer any of
It is
these,
what it is.
but I'm curious is, having been on many different shows myself with different cast members, right? You know, if you have a supportive group, it makes it's a much different scenario than a non-supportive group.
Right.
Do you feel like you were supported by your fellow judges, I'll say cast, at X Factor?
No, only Louis.
Okay.
Yeah, Louis I felt very supported by. Though Nicole was quite supportive, actually. When I was on the year of Nicole, she was sweet, but she was also trying to deal with her own. It's a lot being on that show, you know. She's trying to deal with her own dramas being on the show and what the big deal it is to her. But yeah, I'd say Louis was like my rock. That's why I have that love for Louis. He just really saw, like, she's a baby. Yeah. She got a little, oh, look, we got a little baby on the panel.
Yeah. I mean, you were.
Yeah, I was
You were a baby.
22.
Yeah. You were a baby.
22 years old.
Yeah.
And he saw that. And he would advise me and try and protect me as much as he could.
All right. Now, at that, I think it's between first and second season that this tape comes out.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's when it all went tits up.
So this is 2013.
Yeah.
This is this year of enlightenment.
This is the year of enlightenment, you know.
Yes, this is the year of enlightenment, because you could look at, it's interesting, some people can look at 2013 and say, this was a year of hell.
Yeah.
But I like how you're like, no, I became enlightened.
Yeah.
So at what point do you find out that there is a sex tape?
I found out all the way through year one. So even what was supposed to be the happiest time of my life, getting that job, doing what I was doing, I was being tortured by the fact of someone had told me there was this tape and he was just waiting for the right moment to release it.
Can I say one thing here? This is the one part of television and being an artist that I think is most undervalued by the audience. And that is it's not necessarily like when you have to walk out on stage and read a teleprompter. It's you have to walk out on stage, read a teleprompter. Maybe you've had 3 hours of sleep, and you've just been told news that is traumatic.
Yeah.
And you still have to perform given the circumstance.
Yeah.
That is what makes a professional versus, say, an amateur.
Yeah.
So through season one, you're out here, you have this knowledge.
Yeah. And I'm just going home crying. I was so traumatized. I went to one of the producers. She was like my kind of go-to. She was also a great support on the show. And I had to tell her. I couldn't live with it inside anymore. And I said, listen, there's this tape and it might come out. What's going to happen? Am I going to lose my job on the show? Because back then, the climate was, oh, this is a family show. That's happened to you. You're out. It wasn't now, you're a victim. That wasn't the narrative back then,
right?
When this was happening to me. So it wasn't just, I'm going to be humiliated. It's also, I'm going to lose everything because no one wants the girl with a sex tape on family TV. So she said to me, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen because it won't be me that makes that decision. And she also doesn't want everyone else to know because she wants to protect me too right now.
Right.
So it was mad. Spiritually as well, I get a lot of premonitions. So I dream things before they happen. And I dreamt the day the tape was going to come out. I always, when there's something big's about to happen, I'll see it in a dream. And I was riding on a white horse with my Uncle B.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, the horse tripped. We both fell off. He was gone. And there was just me on the floor next to this slaughtered lamb. This is what I saw in my dream. And then I'm in bits. I'm looking at the slaughtered lamb. And then a guy who I was seeing at the time, Jack O'Connell, his mum appears, who I've never met before.
Okay.
This woman. And she's like, come with me, Tulisa. And she takes my hand and she brings me to a back garden where there's a barbecue and everyone's dancing and eating. And I was happy again. So the next day, the tape drops. I wake up. It wasn't when I woke up. I woke up going, something really bad's going to happen today because of that slaughtered lamb. And then I found out later that day, the tape had dropped. I was like, there it is. And then Jack was meant to be in America filming a movie. So I wasn't even gonna see him. Something went wrong with the visa. He couldn't get the visa. And they sent him home. He came straight to my house. He took me to meet his mum for the first time, where we had a barbecue and everyone was singing and dancing and eating like in the dream. And they really, Jack's mum, who I'm actually really close with to this day, she's like a mother figure to me.
Interesting.
Them as a family really saved me during that period.
Faith. Once again.
Yeah.
Faith.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have faith, you wouldn't have had the premonition.
No.
And if you didn't have that, I would imagine it would have been much more awful than what it was.
Of course. But because I always have these premonitions and see these kind of things, I always know that there's something more. And if I'm being shown something's going to happen, and also at the end of it, though, you're going to be okay, it means that I'm always being guided to... So even though I've had that dream, it's a catastrophe, and then it happens, but I'm also like, well, at the end of the dream, it felt okay, so I'm going to be all right.
And
just constant guidance.
And you were all right.
Yeah.
However,
well, I was temporarily all right when I was ready to throw myself off a building. That's when I really needed them, and they were there. But of course, the long-term damage, no. Yeah, in that immediate moment, I was okay because of them.
But when you say immediate, and I know you're joking or you're not joking,
as in no, in the short period where it's its worst, in that horrific moments when I'm thinking crazy stuff and feeling crazy stuff, I might want to do crazy stuff. He and his mother was there to get me through that. But then the aftermath, long term, once I'm over the immediate craziness, that, was a whole other story, healing from that.
When you think about today, the environment around these tapes are entirely different because there was no legislation. This is 2013, right?
2013, yeah.
Yeah, so legislation...
No, 2012. The trial was 2013. Oh. This is 2012.
Oh, okay, the trial was 2013.
Yeah.
So legislation...
X-Factor started 2011. 2012 was the tape. 2013 was the trial.
And so legislation didn't come until 2015.
Yeah.
And then I think Georgia Harrison, who I recently met, who's incredible. Yeah, she's incredible. She increased stipulations around it in 2023.
Yeah.
But
about time.
2012, there was nothing.
No.
And
I was the bad guy in 2012.
So the press, what does the press do?
To be honest, when I think about the press, I couldn't look. I went and slept on my bathroom floor. I locked myself in my bathroom with a duvet and slept on my bathroom floor.
Really?
Yeah. I had this thing when I was a kid, when things were bad in my house. The only room with a lock in it was my bathroom. So I would go take my blanket and I would lock myself in the bathroom. So as an adult now, a 22-year-old, I was reverting back to the same behaviour. That's how traumatised I was feeling. That I was going into my ensuite, a small shower bathroom, and I was curling up in a ball on the floor in a duvet. And that's what I did until Jack turned up and up you get.
And here you are on the biggest show in the UK. Mm. This was supposed to be this breakout moment for you. Mm. And this happens.
Yeah.
You decided to take the perpetrator to court.
Yeah.
And specifically, you were suing for?
I was suing because he had been off the back of it doing front magazine covers, saying that I had sold this tape and I had done this to promote myself. And the most horrific thing in my eyes that had ever happened to me, and not only was he torturing me by releasing it in the first place, but then he was trying to say that I am was the one to release it and openly saying that. And that was why I went after him. Like, you are going to own what you have done to me.
And you won?
Yes.
Okay.
And he just simply admitted that it was him. That was it.
And that was it.
Victory. Woo.
But you know, even you said that at that point you're the victim, but yet it's the press says this is your problem, this is your issue, right? You're the bad person.
Yeah.
Even to this day, you know, we recently had Megan Barton Hansen on, and she was talking about an assault. In essence, it was a physical assault that happened, and from her opinion, the perpetrator of the physical assault has had no retribution of, and I don't even know who the perpetrator is, right? But she's saying the perpetrators had no retribution. This is a public figure. But she has had to deal with it as the victim, that she's been penalized as a result of this. So at that time, I can't imagine how you were penalized for this. So how do you think your career was impacted as a result of the tape?
Well, it was a strange one because I thought I would get sacked off the back of it. Some people would say, in a way, it the most can I swear on the show? In the most effed up way possible, it made me a bigger star because of the amount of press that went with it. You had people like 50 Cent and Drake commenting on it. Do you know what I mean? It was a scandal that went so far across the board, which for me, I would have said, keep that. I don't want it if this is how I have to get it. But in ways, I was on the path of, being a family-friendly celebrity that could do certain things and, be okay with certain endorsements. And now I was back to the Camden girl who was just going to have to own it. It is what it is. I'll be the bad guy. And I really, at that point, that's when I just was like, I lost all F's given to be any version of myself for anyone. But then on top of it, I was an angry version of myself now. And I was very, very angry at all of it because this was the reason why, if I wasn't this famous and I wasn't in this position and this predicament, this wouldn't be happening to me. I wouldn't feel what I'm feeling. And that's really where my conflict with fame and show business and the contrived energy, that's when that really started to kick in.
Wow. What an incredible story. Now, by this point, I've already taken away so much from my conversation with Tulisa. And it doesn't stop there because we have a whole second part to this interview, which we will be releasing in a few days' time. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to get notified for when this releases, as trust me, if you like this episode, you will not want to miss part 2. Next time on We Need to Talk, I carry on my epic conversation with Tulisa.
Here once again.
Have a career that you're concerned about because you have press attacking you, still dealing with your mother.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're one of the most bizarre, scary stories I ever heard. That could be a film.
I was approached by a big, well-known movie media company. They flew me to Las Vegas, first class, zines.
When do you begin to find out this is not a movie role?
I found out the day they dropped the story, which I was like, here we go. I literally and to fear my life.
This was coordinated so tightly.
So tightly. These people are trying to kill me. What are you planning to do? Something like that starts to happen. It felt like some Will Smith Enemy in the State shit.
Rarely am I speechless.
Yeah, that happened. It was like...
So I'm a celebrity. What's that experience like for you?
Absolute roller coaster. I was terrified. Like the damn one determined little bitch.
Don't even say anything more. The question was, where's Tulisa?
Yeah.
you've lived multiple lives, I think.
Slept with a knife under my bed most of my life now. I know it sounds crazy.
Quite honestly, hearing that story,
Yeah.
it's not.
Because